Greetings, everyone. I'm excited to welcome Jan Willem van der Meer, co-founder and chief strategy officer at Moments. Jan, Willem, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to join you.
Yeah, great to have you here. I know it's been a long day. Try to make this as painless as possible, but let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So before founding this company, I did found a few other companies. One would say has been the biggest part of my life, which was a ticketing company. Before that, I was studying psychology and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I worked for an advertising agency and I realized I didn't like the vibes in that agency at all. And then I met some nice people who were actually doing an internship there, as was I. And then we decided to start a company together so we didn't have to work for another one. And that company developed into a payment company, thought like an online payment company. Of course, e-commerce, it was back in the day, 2004, which was the onset of payments for in the Netherlands because of a certain payment method called Ideal, which really provoked online payment a lot. So we started to work with those, of course, also credit card, but with this payment method and build solutions for different types of companies. And after a while, we saw the event ticketing market and we realized that it was really a very expensive, underserved online market. And we tried to jump into it. And then it went quicker than we thought. And the company was still called PayLogic, as we thought we would be a financial fintech company. But within half a year, we had so many event clients. We were actually a ticketing company. So we wanted to change the name. But then by the end of that long process, people were already so used to PayLogic because of our growth. We actually never changed it. So it was a ticketing company. We officially founded in 2005 or six. And that grew out to be one of the biggest ticketing companies in the Netherlands and actually pretty large. And in Europe, my role was first commercial lead. So I grew it. I also moved to Germany to grow a German office there. And afterwards, we sold it to a US company in 2013, which was quite a disaster because this was an entertainment company that went to the Nasdaq directly as a startup, but then everything failed. It's called SFX. I don't know how many people will know it. And then within 2 years, it was already going to chapter 11. And we had to buy it back. And, and at the end, we bought a big share back and sold the company together to Vivendi, which is a big French company. And now it's no longer called PayLogic, it's called C-Tickets Benelux. After that, during that period, I also invested in a few other companies and I kind of co-founded some other projects that I did after selling PayLogic. I didn't do anything for 2 years because I needed to kind of reset my career. I left for Spain and then I did another SaaS company together with friends called Formidable. That's a reservation system. So I organized founder community events, also for Amsterdam Dance events. And I thought I wouldn't really be a co-founder of a company that quickly again. But then Kevin and Mark came to me almost a year ago, a little bit less, with their idea how to serve the event industry with an AI solution. And I knew quite a lot about, now I just, if you look at it from a professional level, I didn't know nothing about AI. But from a consumer level, I kind of was working with it. I didn't think I would build a company like that. But then when I saw what they were already doing and how they were helping the industry that I know very well, I felt obligated to join the project. So now we are there. We created Moments at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and we're now serving our first clients.
Well, I'm glad you were able to bring that ticketing company back from debt after selling it. So that's good. So perfect transition. So now, tell us about Moments. Tell us the products and or services that it offers.
Well, kind of going back to the ticketing before, I always felt that we were not able to serve event companies the way that you would actually want to serve it. It was all very much conversion. Shops need to have as little button as you could have. And so basically making everything a bit the same for everyone. And it made sense because especially when you do festival ticketing, it's one day, everything has to happen that day. The ticketing process happens at one day. The marketing is focused at that day. So it's all about, can you handle the mass? Will it be good? Will the message be the same for everyone? Will the clicks be little? Will the conversion be high? But within that, there is no personalization. There's little data. It's very difficult to package more products or to get more revenue per fan or per visitor, whatever you want to say that. And even though we had ideas how to do it, we were never really able to deliver upon this, basically because the customization would just not work. And then with AI, you're kind of able to create that. And the first ideas were pretty basic, but now working with clients, having a few test cases there are at least more and more ideas of how you could serve out each type of event, because a zoo we also consider an event, which is completely different than a festival for one day on a location that's normally not an event location. So, but for all these cases, there are so many ways how you can make the whole journey from buying the tickets to the anticipation of going to the event or at the event and also after and for retention, just a lot more interesting through AI solutions. And that's what we're building.
And so with Moments, it's not ticketing infrastructure. Are you
No,
hooking up to a ticketing platform to
yes,
make the personalization and yeah.
exactly. So what
Okay.
we're doing is, so how we are focusing on this vertical is realizing there's going to be a lot of support. There are a lot of support agent companies within AI right now. If you look at, it's almost like the low hanging fruit within the companies within AI that can directly be of value and service. So we look at this as well. So we want to support the event company that still have 3 or 4 people answering questions in whatever fashion, online or phone. Of course, with all the respect for these people, that should really diminish quickly because it just doesn't make sense. You collect less data. You're only open these certain hours. You can only work in these certain languages for the event. So these are like the low-hanging fruit solutions, like every language, every time of 24/7. Of course, we solve this too. And then we integrate with the APIs of ticketing company to be able to do exactly what a support agent of the first level could do. And I'm not saying we couldn't be on the second level, solving more complex situation or that have some sort of a decision to make. But at this point, it's that first level. But that is, I mean, I would say that like the bottom layer of our little pyramid. When it becomes really interesting is when you start communicating and start triggering your own interactions with the fans. This could be after they buy the tickets or during the process of looking for the right ticket. But basically, that's the moment where it turns in from support to marketing.
Yeah. And so would these be obviously say live events, but could also be anything ticketing to a museum, or is it really
Yeah.
focused on live events?
No, I mean, I think basically both Kevin and I both had ticketing companies before, serving to a lot of different clients. His company was called Convias, and it served mostly daily recreational things like zoos or amusement parks. So we integrated with his previous company. So we're on the API, being able to do anything. So we know the amount of tickets. We know which day of the week is the day that they want to push. So we can push campaigns for it. We know which people bought a ticket for Snow World. So we can send a message to the people. Okay, so you also want to rent boots, snow boots. You call that like this in the US, snow
Yeah,
boots? I
yeah,
don't know.
snow boots, yeah,
Skiing
ski
boots,
boots.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course it's much easier if you don't have to define everybody's shoe size during the order, with the risk of lower conversion as you don't know the size of your own kids. So if you do this later through direct messaging, through WhatsApp is very famous for this in the Netherlands, but I think in the US might be other direct messaging communication tools, but basically integrated any of the, and then you solve these things for later. So he brought in through this partnership a lot of these clients from that angle, and I've done the same from Paylogic's angle because we were serving mostly to festivals and clubs and in the music live space. But but really, what we've focused on is everything around a ticket. So when you require a ticket to get there, and this ticket is connected to your identity, of course, to a payment and to your, let's say, what you're allowed to enter. This combination of data that is in essence ticketing, we should be able to notice and be able to serve towards these people and to collect data around them.
Yeah, seems like a big need because usually it's just like a card and checkout sequence and no
Yeah,
personalization, no real help in that
right,
process. So it makes a ton
right.
of sense. So what year did you found Moments?
Well, so I would say this year. So of course we were already working on ideas and there were test cases. So maybe you should say last year, but
Hmm.
somewhere around January we've been really founding the company, and we also raised some funds from angel investors around us. And that's when we also came into the media and the Dutch newspapers about this new company. So I would say the beginning of this year.
Okay. So this year idea last year,
Yeah.
and then so you did raise a little capital. Looks like what, €1 million pre-seed funding?
Yeah.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about that because you're serial founder and yeah, like the decision between, all right, let's bootstrap this or let's raise a little capital. Walk us through that process and your thinking around that.
But already before I was really on board, Kevin, so my partner, already had through his own network a few guys who were super enthusiastic about his ideas in AI. So when I came along, I said, well, I will invest some money myself. So yeah, as you say, we are not there. These guys used to be a lot of years ago who were just starting out of an attic and then hoping that somebody. We already committed some of our own monies towards it, and of course, to angels, that is the biggest signal that you want to have. So raising this round was relatively easy, to be very honest with you. We kept it at 1 million as we didn't want to raise more because of you also want to have a reasonable valuation towards one another before you really have any traction. So it was more of like a choice to say, okay, these are the people we really love to have around us. They really trust us. We trust them. They are going to be looking at the strategic value at the right moment and the right time. And then we have our own capital, which easily made this round to that 1 million. And it's just what we thought would be enough to bring the company to hopefully a state of rapid growth in, let's say, 18 months, and then be able to make another round in a scenario where you really want to go for, all over the world. And then it would be, of course, to a completely different valuation and also different rounds. So that is the plan behind this funding round. But it looks very different than the funding rounds I had a decade ago, even more.
I'm sure a little bit different now, but that's a good point because you've had a lot of experience creating companies, operating companies. So any lessons learned that just stand out, say for other founders listening who are thinking about, or starting that idea, maybe bootstrapping and then thinking about some seed funding, anything that comes to mind that you'd like to share as far as lessons?
Well, I mean, I think if you have people around you that believe in what you're doing, and you're able to go all in, and you can be made around with just angels that'll trust in you more than even, well, of course, your enthusiasm and the idea as well. Don't get me wrong. But I think if you have this ability to go for that, things are gonna go so much quicker. You're gonna get so much more help while getting very early stage more professional investors on board. And I mean, not so much that these guys are not professional, but the ones that are dealing with other people's money, it's going to take so much more time. And also there's going to be a little bit of a different attitude in a phase where you are still trying to find the perfect, let's say, market fit, or, you could change your business model, you could change your market focus, and that's more difficult with more professional investors. So I realize not everybody has this luxury, but I think it would be great if you would find those people around you. And it mostly just takes one that has real commitment and the other ones will tag along. So yeah, I would advise look a bit around it. Some people are a bit afraid to ask other people for money and then rather go to more professional investor. But I think it will really, the cost of that, the time it takes and the process, I think it's too heavy for the first 2 years of a company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I appreciate that insight, and that's a great distinction for founders thinking about, say, angel or going to a quote unquote professional firm or VC fund. And Jan Willem, at this stage of your journey, it's early, and go to market models change. But how are you finding your initial prospects and customers right now?
Well, what we've done is, so for us, we see the ticketing companies as our partners and also a little bit as our customers. So getting them excited about what we're offering is crucial. So theoretically, if I would be still running PayLogic, I would have loved to build what we're doing right now within PayLogic. But what I've learned is it's not impossible, but if you are a company like that, a software tech-driven ticketing company, you already are super busy. Your clients are asking for things that matter now to them, extra functionality or whatever. And I'm not saying they won't be asking for AI, but that's more of like an innovative ask, which doesn't say, I want this, but more, I want my supplier to be innovative. So basically, I think this is the case that most ticketing companies have such a high pressure on their roadmap that they would love to integrate more AI, and they might do it within the things that they're focused on, within the process that they already offer. But to create a whole new AI solution towards consumers, as we're doing, I don't think many of them will get to that list, to that level of the list of the crazy ideas that they want to do. So knowing that, we thought if we talk to the most innovative companies and tell them, listen, we're going to do this, we think your clients will love it, and it will help you to become a more AI-driven company by just facilitating our solution within your solution. We can work together very well. And I think basically most of them were like, yeah, indeed, this is something we have on our idea to do something with, but it's not going to be this year, maybe not even next year. So they tell us, one day we might do this on our own. And I realize that that is a risk. But I think that if we offer enough value, it is a partnership that will be able to be continued. And so getting these ticketing partners on board was crucial in the first few months. Now I think as we have like 5 or 6 committed, of which 4 totally integrated and workable for clients, I think we will work on this, and that's how we will also get clients excited. But it's not like we want ticketing companies to sell to their client. Well, we love it if they do it, but we're not going to wait for that or depend on it. So it's kind of a cooperation with them. So we now reach out a little bit more enthusiastically, let's put that word, towards the clients that, of course, are on the ticketing solutions that we provide. But we also look at the other way around, that we find an amazing event company, and then we say, well, can you introduce us to your ticketing company? Because then we can do the full solution. So yeah, it's a combination of that. And then specifically to what event companies do we target? Well, all over everything that offers a ticket, but wherever the journey gets more complex, whenever it starts to look a little bit like almost travel. And what I want to say with that is, if you go to the club on the end of the street this night and you buy the ticket on the same day, and it's always the same ticket for the same price, you don't really need us. I mean, we can still offer some nice things, but that's not where we make a difference. But if you're going to buy a ticket where you might even cross the border, where you have to do your traveling plans towards, where you have to eat within or around the event, where you actually, the whole economy of your spend is so much bigger than the ticket alone. If we're able to cater much more around it, so that the event organizer, because I would say that little travel plan is based on their product, so they should maybe take a bigger piece of the pie of the whole thing. And we can have service that. Then on revenue level, we can do a lot more. On the other side is experience level, so that if we can make all these little choices and steps easier, we can really help the experience of the visitor as well.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Now, this could be the toughest question of the day, pricing, and we know early stage, but what kind of pricing model do you have? Is it subscription? Is it usage? Is it percentage of volume going through your platform?
Right. Well, we already last year, so almost before the official launch, we were discussing this all the time, and we really wanted to be on a no cure, no pay kind of success model, basically resolutions, or I don't know, a definition of positively ended conversation that either solves a support problem or offers an experience enhancement or gets a new revenue in. And then we discussed very many models. I mean, maybe too many, but basically always trying to be at the place that the event organizer only is paying you if you're really solving to something that he otherwise wouldn't be able to do, or had a cost against for support employees. So basically always explaining that there's no cost to us if we're not doing anything well. And if we are, there's a better balance of economy. But having this conversation with our clients, funny enough, in with event organizers, and of course they're definitely not the same, all of them, but zooming out a little bit, they were all like, yeah, but then we are going to pay you for conversations. We love that you're solving our support issue, but this could be very expensive. What, like the type of things, what if you would be sending messages to the agent yourself? And it would say, yes, we do this. Are we then having to pay you? And we pretty quickly thought we're still going to go back to this model. Well, not maybe, so we're going to still have to specify, but we're going to go back to that model. We are pretty certain. In the end of the day, we want to be able to make a little fee on where we grow revenue for our clients. Doesn't have to be loads, but something connected to that, and maybe a fixed fee as well. Mm-hmm. But for now, we have just for this year. So what we've said to our clients in the year 2025, our clients are just paying a fee per month, just avoiding the whole debate and discussion and the insecurity of what their, let's say, CFO or financial controller will have to look at by the end of the month working with this AI company. So making it very simple. And you do see that they kind of like it. It's like they do take this breath from the ones we first told the other model. Then we said, well, we will just do a fee per month. They were like, even though we both made the calculation that that number might be a little bit higher than the variable number. So then at this moment, I believe we need to grow. I'm not saying we need to raise, but we need to also not be in debate about pricing too much with our clients. And that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we made it easier now.
Yeah, you don't want that friction, but it's like, dare I say, it was almost sounding like outcome-based pricing, like you said, where it's a positive result for your client.
Right.
You get paid, but then the unpredictability of that, maybe it's a
Right.
big bill that month. And then, like you said, yeah, that's why just feel where with that, then it's like, oh, well, if you just pay this flat fee per month, we can do that as well. And then they know exactly, like you
Yeah.
said, that sigh of relief where they don't get
Yeah.
that surprise bill, even though if it was a higher surprise bill,
Right.
in theory, that should be better for you that you're paying
Right.
for.
Exactly. Exactly. But the thing also is what we also learned already with just having like 20 clients on board now is that even though we are making sure that they have higher conversion and more transaction, it's not always that easy to explain what our role in the part is. And I think by taking a too big piece of that action, you become also something they feel like, yeah, should we use it here? Because we're already leading people to a place where they're going to go anyway, and it's a bit
Mm.
sad, but that's how it could be perceived. And that's also where you don't want to be. And I also believe much more than I did a year ago or something like a year ago, a little bit less, that making the experience. So many event companies want to talk to us when we tell them we're going to bring more revenue. But funny enough, in the first conversation we have, even though they want more revenue, they always get more excited about getting a better experience for their clients. And I'm happy about that. So being able to get the experience better, whether it's taking away hassle or bringing new opportunities in, I think that might even be more important than really trying to be a revenue machine alone. So it's kind of like all event organizers, especially in the European markets. I don't know how it's over on the other side of the ocean, but I think the same. They have not easier days than 1 or 2 or 3 years ago. They're having a bit harder days. Well, of course, not the COVID year, but you know what I mean. And basically, they are looking for extra revenue. So it is a way to get the conversation going quicker. But then, yeah.
Yeah, I love that distinction. Yeah, it's not only a revenue, but just that better experience for the customers, so they come back again. And then let's talk a few stats and figures before we wrap up today. So, at this stage of your business, so early on, is there a favorite
Mhm.
number or metric or operational metric that you're focused on to help guide the business?
Well, so we have like, let's say we have the messages coming towards us, which are the questions and the support questions. So then at this point, we just, the amount of messages per client per day is just super important to us. And this is not per definition a success of our product because it's also how well did we onboard the clients? Can they find us everywhere? And so I think that's very important for us. So how many people can find us and want to interact with us? So that is for this moment super important. Another one that I think we're now just getting started with is when we do trigger campaigns, basically sending out a message to people, you just bought tickets for, the weekend of the festival, but you can go XL. Do you want this? We can offer this until the end of Friday for 20% discount, whatever. And then the amount of success that we have with these trigger campaigns is also super important. So the response to that. In general, of course, the extra revenue we can bring as well. And I think, to be honest, there's even more things that we try to figure out now. But in the end of the day, it's how many people, how much interaction we can have with people is more important, for instance, at this point, than signing on more clients or something like that.
Yeah.
We also want that, but we are looking more at the success we have per client right now.
Yeah, yeah, make the current client successful, which makes sense. And then, do you have a headquarters location right now for your team, or are you all virtual?
No, we're still a small team. There's like 7 people all involved, and they have an office in Amsterdam. I'm in Amsterdam now too. Myself, I live on Ibiza, so I go back and forward a lot. And even though we have an office, everybody can work from anywhere. We are,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So, but we are a Dutch company.
Okay, Dutch company. And then a team of about 7. And then
Mhm.
anything you want to disclose around current revenue ranges right now?
Well, like I told you, we have around 20 clients right
Hmm.
now, and these clients are giving us a monthly fee. Like I think the lowest is around 250 euro per
Hmm.
month, and the highest is around I think 3,000 euros because we have very many different clients. And basically, it's just because some of them have different events and everything like that. So yeah, if you do the math, you can make a rough
Yeah, the
assumption
range.
about and we hope by the end of the year to have, well, there's a very broad range between 50 and 100 clients and also like 10 ticketing companies integrated. And then next year, we hope that conversations, or at least positively ended conversations, will be an indication for a revenue more than just a monthly fees. But, we're growing
Mhm.
to that.
Well, really appreciate your time today and sharing your journey experience, a lot of company creation and operating experience. But if listeners would like to learn more about Moments, where should we send them online?
Well, our website is www.moments.ai. Here you can find a lot of information, and there's a nice button that says "Talk to the founder." That means talking to me or to Kevin. And we're still at the level that we want to answer any of such calls ourselves. And yeah, so definitely give us a call if you think it's interesting.
Yeah, and just to be sure, right, it's Moments with an A.
Yeah,
So
MONA. Yeah,
MOMENTS.ai. Okay, perfect. So check out, then that'll be in the
that's
show
it.
notes. So check out. So love the product. Really makes sense for that checkout experience and the ticketing experience. So again, Jan William, appreciate your time today and sharing your journey.
Thanks a lot, Ben. It was very nice.